I'm holding my hands up to say action isn't necessary to manifest what you want. Now, I know you may be sitting there with a million countering thoughts going on, or maybe even in the middle of typing your comment to explain why I'm wrong, but hear me out before you make your decision. I'm going to be explaining today why action is a bonus to your manifestation if used correctly, as opposed to the necessary component to ensure an outcome comes into play. So if you're toying with taking action or not, or if you're worried that by not taking action, you're delaying things further, this is the video for you. And I urge you to stick it out to the end so that you can be as confident as possible in whether you should or shouldn't take action and how you should or shouldn't do it. So when you end up enjoying this video, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. And if you need any one-to-one help from me to tailor advice to your situation specifically, I do have services available that are linked down below in the comment section and the description. But without further ado, let's just dive right in. Now, I know you may be wondering why I'm just doing a face-to-face conversation kind of video today. And that is because this week is the deadline for my band's EP. So I'm traveling back and forth to London four times in the next 6 days, which is about 5 hours of total travel for me a day. So I just don't have the time to bust out the whiteboard and do all of that stuff. So we're doing this kind of video today. Bear with me, whiteboards will be back. But action, why is it not the necessary component, but a beneficial component? Well, let me start by explaining that bar a few reflexive things, action only ever follows consciousness anyway. You know, like if a little bit of dust gets in your eye, you'll blink or like close your eye instinctively. Or your heart rate might quicken under the case of some negative or even positive stimuli. And those things are kind of somewhat reactive, unconscious. But choosing to text someone, applying for a job, sending chase up emails, deciding to go for a run, anything like that is a conscious action. Now, what does that tell us? Well, if consciousness is the true reality and consciousness is the prior thing to action, any action that you take, be it good or bad, has a conscious standpoint behind it anyway, which means the actions that you are taking are merely following the baseline of your consciousness, and consciousness creates. So action, it's not some standalone thing. I do conscious work over there and I take action over there. Action is always the following thing from a conscious state. Besides those reflexive things that I mentioned, you never take action without there being some form of consciousness behind it. Yes, there may be it might be an unconscious action in a sense of you don't even really think about it, you just do it. I didn't think about it, I just picked up my phone and checked to see if there was a message, but that's still consciousness going on. You were checking to see if there was a message. You knew that by picking up your phone and looking to see if there was a text, you would get the answer to if there was or was not a text. So action is never a standalone thing anyway, so it can never be the independent variable that will or won't solve your manifestation, because it follows consciousness. Now, let me make an additional standpoint on that just to explain this even further, why action is somewhat negligible. The types of actions that you take, being that they follow consciousness, it's the consciousness that matters more than the action anyway. For example, there are people that think that they absolutely have to work hours upon hours upon hours, otherwise they will go bankrupt. And there are people that might think that they could work hours upon hours upon hours and make millions. Same actions, different consciousness. Which is why those individuals who work all of those hours with a negative mindset, I have to do this or I fail, are often living but like struggling. But the people that think, I'm going to work all these hours and it's going to make me so much money, they're thriving because of the conscious state behind it. Same actions, different consciousness, different outcomes. Same thing with, sending approaching someone at a bar, this is a prime example. If someone goes up to someone at a bar and they're super nervous, they've thought a million different pickup lines, they're worried that they're going to get rejected, they don't know how they're going to get rejected, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get rejected. But if someone goes up to someone at a bar, just confident, outcome independent, doesn't care if it goes well or doesn't go well, they just spit their thing and see what happens, they often succeed far more than they fail. Because it's the same actions approaching someone at a bar, different consciousness. So that's kind of like the explanation behind why action in and of itself isn't the deciding factor. Now let me explain why it's a bonus to your manifestation if used right, and why you don't actually need to take action in the first place. And of course, because many of you are manifesting specific people, that's the examples that I'll give, but this does work for jobs, money, buying houses, whatever. The way reality works is you feed your subconscious mind a story, good or bad. Obviously, we want it to be good for you to get what you want, but the stories you feed your subconscious mind are like the blueprint to what should come. It takes in these stories and then builds the reality to bring that thing to you, to create that experience. Think of your subconscious mind like just trying to prove to you those stories to be true. If you say you suck, you will get a reality that proves you suck because your subconscious mind is trying to prove that as true. If you say you're the best thing since sliced bread, you're going to get an experience that shows you that. So think of the stories you tell your subconscious mind like blueprints that you hand to a construction worker, and a construction worker gets to work building that thing into physical reality. Your subconscious mind is the constructor, the physical reality being the outcome, the blueprint being the impressions. The subconscious mind builds the bridge through the means that are necessary. Most of the time, in most experiences that I have seen and experienced myself, a good 8 out of 10 times, that thing comes to you. Your subconscious mind builds that thing around you. Meaning, action isn't necessary in most cases because of this. It will bring it to you. Now you'll notice that I said most cases, but then at the beginning of the video, I sort of said that action isn't necessary at all. Why am I saying those two different slightly different things? Conscious action isn't necessary. You don't need to sit there and try and think about how to move things along and take the right actions to do it. You don't need to do anything physically on a conscious level because your subconscious mind will either bring those things to you, or if you are necessary to move to get an outcome, this will happen through inspired action. An inspired action is your subconscious mind basically giving you the right idea at the right time to take and execute in the right way, getting you the right outcome. And this often happens like that. You don't even realize it. It just comes to you, you do it, and it works out perfectly well. Because your subconscious mind is needing to get you from point A to point B. And in this experience, you are the piece that needs to move to get you there. You don't have to do any of that consciously. By just sitting and doing your manifestation work, you impress your subconscious mind with that story. It gets to work, putting you in the right place at the right time to do the right execution, getting you the right outcome. So you can just literally focus on just doing the manifestation work. And if you need to move, you'll move without second thoughts. And I want to give you a little example of where this has happened and why action can be beneficial if you do it right. I post 2 videos a week-ish, depending on if I can sort of keep that schedule, and 5 shorts a week, again, depending on if I can keep that schedule. Most of those videos are conscious action. Under the basis of I am a successful manifestation coach, I post content to help, so I do it. And my content helps. Conscious action with a positive story behind it. But there are a few videos, if you sift through my videography, whatever it's called, I can't remember the actual term. If you sift through it, you'll see that there's a few videos that have just exceeded expectations. And I want to give 2 examples of this, one from very recent and then one from a few years ago. A few years ago, I fell asleep affirming to myself, my videos go viral in the most beneficial way possible. My videos go viral in the most beneficial way possible. And I made a video of, this is what your specific person thinks when you affirm. Didn't think anything of it. It wasn't an extra special video. I didn't do any special editing or anything like that. I just woke up and thought, this is a good topic. I'm going to do this one. And that video went crazy viral as far as my videos go. If I remember correctly, I think I got something like 35,000 views in a week, 2,000 subscribers from it, and it still climbs even to this day. You know, it's still, I think it's at like 100 something thousand views now. It's my highest watched video, just inspired action, did the video perfect. Now I have done that same video topic in a multitude of different ways. Presentation videos, PowerPoint videos, talking like this videos, and none have done the same because all of those have been under the basis of, I'm a successful YouTuber, this is going to help people, and they do well, but they were all conscious action. None of them were under the basis of that inspired action that I had back there. But the other example, the one that is more recent, is a video that I did, I think 2 or so weeks ago, maybe 3, of just loop your affirmations. I've done this video before in the past, and it did okay. Conscious action. When I did it a couple of weeks ago, I fell asleep affirming the exact same thing I affirmed those years back, and now this one is sat at something like 28,000 views or something, which is a huge spike again for my average videos. Because what I'm doing is I'm relying on consciousness, pure consciousness, to tell my subconscious mind, I have this outcome, and it gets me that outcome. My videos go viral in the most beneficial way. Puts the pieces together, wakes me up with this idea of, I'm doing this video, I do it, and it excels expectations. Now, the conscious action is still doing well. The inspired action does exceptionally well. Because my conscious action is under this baseline of like, yeah, I'm a successful YouTuber, I post videos that help. Conscious action, beneficial, still helps. But the inspired action, when I actually just surrender to consciousness and say, you know what, just give me the dog's bollocks of a video, it does it. Because the subconscious mind moves the pieces to get you from where you are to where you're claiming to be. Doesn't mean that the action of me sitting here daily, well, not daily, but regularly during the week making videos is negative. It's just not as impactful as the inspired ones. So what I urge for you going forward, sort of taking that as like a little bit of like an anecdote of this that I'm explaining, is rely on consciousness to create. Just simply give into consciousness, especially if it's something that is going to make you a little bit uncertain in the 3D. For your case, manifesting your specific person. If you're worried that texting is going to be harmful, if you're worried that asking for a date or for commitment and that is going to be harmful, don't do it. Go into consciousness, because the consciousness action, as in the inspired action provided through consciousness, will far exceed anything you could ever do consciously. So always rely on that as the big piece mover. Me, I have a good basis on here on YouTube. I know I can post the most ass video and it will help someone because that's my natural stories. So I take conscious action. If my videos were doing terrible and I was getting nothing but negative comments and falling apart and I just couldn't do it, I wouldn't keep posting consciously because I know that my conscious action is not helpful. I would instead rely on my consciousness of the subconscious mind inspiring me to make the right video to do that instead. It's only because things are good that I then continue to take conscious action. If things weren't good, I wouldn't bother. I would just let the subconscious mind do the right things at the right time in the right way for the right outcomes. So this kind of goes back to why consciousness is the true reality. Action follows consciousness. If you're going to take conscious action, I'm fine with that because I do it every single day. I don't sit here on some high horse saying, why are you taking action? Because action in itself isn't the problem. It's the consciousness behind it. If you're checking every 10 seconds and panicking that you're going to be left on red, the panic is the problem, not the checking. I check my phone regularly because I do a lot of work on my phone. Sometimes Katie goes out and she needs to just let me know to get the chicken out the freezer or something. I check my phone regularly. It's not the problem. It's the consciousness behind you checking it that becomes the problem. Action is a benefit if you're taking it in the right way from a right conscious state. If you can't take it in the right way from the right conscious state, or if you're worried that by taking it you're going to receive something you don't want, then don't do it. And you will not be losing out because your subconscious mind is what creates your reality anyway. So just rely on the subconscious mind. And because the subconscious mind only works in the present, you could go a year without taking any action. But if this moment you decide to go into consciousness and do the right things, you will still get the right outcomes. The subconscious mind is playing chess against your reality, is the sort of mental analogy I like to picture. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a piece to make a great play. The subconscious mind will make those sacrifices where necessary, and this can often be, losing your job, which then inspires you to look for a new one and you get your perfect one. For example, you sacrificed your favorite horse, but that allowed you to then take their king, or checkmate them to then take their king. You lost your job, but then that allowed you to then be able to apply for the perfect job, for example. But your subconscious mind is also moving those pieces around in the most perfect way. And you might be looking at your board right now, reality, and thinking, why have you moved like 3 pawns and a horse over there? Like, what is that doing? And then out of nowhere, the bishop darts all the way up there, takes the queen, then they panic, then your horse takes the king and you win the game. But 3 moves ago, it looked like nothing was going on. You just couldn't see the vision. Your subconscious mind is far more powerful than you could ever comprehend. So rely on it to do the work. Your conscious mind battles ego, it battles, your old stories, it battles your attachment style, it battles all of these things that you have churning in your mind. Your subconscious mind battles nothing that you don't feed it. So just feed it that you have what you want and it will get you there. If you're going to take conscious action, do so from a positive place. If you're not able to do it from a positive place, don't do it at all. Because your subconscious mind, if you need to be the one to move, will move you. But that is my video on action. I really hope it has helped you in this video. I know some of you are going to ask for some ideas of what kind of actions you could take. Just for your specific people, just a little bit of like a guideline, I suppose. If you're not good with your specific person and you want to take action, take actions that don't directly impact your person. For example, you could save memes that you could send them when you're back in contact. Or you could look for ornaments that you want for your house together. Get down baby names. Think of the kind of wedding ring that you're going to, or engagement ring that your engagement ring that you're going to get them and things like that. Stuff that doesn't actually involve them directly, so you don't get a negative outcome, but things that you can say, this is for my wedding with person. This is for my house with person. This is for my this, that, and the other with person. If you're in contact and things are okay, and you're just kind of moving along nicely, if you want to take action, such as contacting them or like asking for dates and so on, you can. Just be sure that you do so from a good state of mind. And a good state of mind is a calm and relaxed state while doing it and without care for the outcome. If they say yes, great. If they say no, who cares? Go back into consciousness, see them doing it anyway, and it will get you there. But if you're kind of unsure if you can do it right, unsure of the right action to take, don't bother. Just go into consciousness. With Katie and my manifestation, we were no contact. As far as the 3D goes, if you had seen us, we were dead to each other. I didn't check her socials. I didn't check her Snapchat story. I didn't even talk about her to my friend. I basically said to him, look, we've broken up. I don't want to talk about it. Just kind of letting you know so you know why I might be a little bit quiet or whatever. Yeah, that's chill, mate. Wiped my hands with it. Went internally, did the work. She came back. You don't need action. And because action follows consciousness anyway, action will benefit you if you're in the right state of consciousness. Action will harm you if you're in the wrong state of consciousness. So because of that factor, it's just simply better to go into consciousness and let opportunities come to you or let your subconscious mind push you in the right way at the right time to take the right execution to get the right outcome. But that is it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. If you need one-to-one help to tailor advice to your situation specifically to overcome this generalized content that is on YouTube, I do have services available to do that, or the Elite Academy, where you can get all of my courses, help with me, all of my products, and everything that I have to offer. So check those out now if you're genuinely serious about getting your person or anything else that you want in the future. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.